All right. Well, welcome everyone to the latest book club meetup. I am Joanna Parker Martin, and I'm a cybersecurity analyst working in higher education, fully remote out of San Diego. I am an active member of WiCyS Global, as well as my local affiliate in San Diego. I'm a nonfiction book junkie and a veteran book club host. So my co-host today is Sharon Jackson. And Kiana Oates from WiCyS Global is here as well. She'll be assisting us. Now, as many of you know, if you've attended previous book club sessions, Trisha McMahon has previously been helping me with co-hosting duties. And the good news is Trisha was recently elected president of the local affiliate here in San Diego. And because of that, she has quite a few responsibilities that are taking precedence over book club. So I have asked another person from our leadership team out here in San Diego if she would help me co-host. Her name is Sharon Jackson. Unfortunately, however, Sharon just let us know this morning that she's running just a bit late. She has a kid at a game and the game ran over. And so she's racing to get home so she can join us. And that may take a bit, but it should be fine. She's going to join us in a few minutes when she gets here. As always, Kiana from WiCyS Global is here to help us. Kiana, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, sure. Hi, I am Kiana Oates from WiCyS Global, and I'm here to assist you in any way that I can. So if you have any questions, I'll be dropping things into the chat, like the info at email address and everything, but happy to have you here today.
Thank you. So I'm just going to speak a bit about the book club mission statement, guidelines, and how this all works. The book club is about creating the space in our hectic lives to connect as a community and bring diverse perspectives into a lively discussion about pre-selected books. This book club meets bi-monthly. At this time, we're currently having these on roughly the third Saturday of every other month, leading us to about 6 total meetings per year. That may change based on holidays or other conflicts from time to time. This is your place to review and discuss various cybersecurity and privacy-related books. If you have any suggestions or questions, you may email us. Kiana is putting that email for you in the chat right now. A word about the format. It is difficult to curate a space allowing everyone to speak, and ensuring equal time for those that want to share can be a challenge, especially in a format like Zoom, where it's virtual. Our discussion today will be between myself and my counterpart, Sharon Jackson. I strongly encourage everyone listening today to comment and chat and participate as we go along, but we recommend that you generally use chat. Sometimes if we have a little time and there aren't too many people here, then we will let you open up your mics and talk. There will be poll questions as well that we will add those to our conversation. We will monitor the chat to keep informed and discuss audience thoughts and opinions. As always, there's no pressure to have read the book. Anyone can come and just listen. Be prepared for spoilers, though. We highly encourage those of you who prefer a more intimate classical style book club, possibly in person, to start one in your area and associate it with your local affiliate to maximize visibility and membership. In the meantime, for those of you too busy for all that, just relax and enjoy the conversation with us. Quick word about the WiCyS Code of Conduct. WiCyS events and initiatives promote opportunities to learn, share knowledge, and network. It is the intention of WiCyS to create safe, enjoyable, and inclusive space for all people. Kiana will put the link to that in chat. If you're not familiar with it, please take a moment to review it. It's worth taking a few minutes to learn more about it. Excuse me. Intro to the book. So this month's book club book is The Rise of the Cyber Women. It's a compilation of inspiring stories from women in the cybersecurity industry from all over the world who are pioneers and leading the way in helping to protect the world from the growing cyber threat. Those who are included and featured in this book shared not only their stories, but also their hints, tips, and advice to women who are looking to pursue a career in cybersecurity or change their career path along cybersecurity. Lisa Ventura is a native of England, and she compiled together these wonderful stories from around the globe. Lisa is a senior specialist at Qualitest and the founder of Cybersecurity Unity. which helps foster greater collaboration in the cybersecurity industry to help combat the growing cyber threat. She's a keynote speaker, a moderator, and a panelist, and has taken part in many conferences and events. She writes articles, blogs, press features about cybersecurity, neurodiversity, mental health issues, and more. Feel free to give her a follow on LinkedIn. I do believe she sits on several advisory councils, one for the International Cyber Expo, one for Diversity and Inclusion Workshop at CREST, and she's a judge for the Cyber OSPA Awards. So why did we select this book? Well, stories inspire us, and in this fast-paced field of cybersecurity, it's important that we occasionally take a step back to listen to the stories that give us hope, give us perspective, and a challenge what we think we know about our industry from the people who live it every day. Kiana is going to put the link to the book on Amazon for you now in the chat window. I also encourage people to consider going to your local bookstore and placing an order through your local bookstore. I'm always a big fan of supporting your local bookstores. So I'm going to go ahead and start in about the book in general. So this is the book. You can see on my little flags here. My overall impression of this is that stories are not all that totally unique. It's been my experience as someone in the industry. Cybersecurity is a weird field. It attracts all kinds of people from all kinds of areas. And this book appropriately reflects that. The stories were sometimes surprising, sometimes inspiring, and other times rage-inducing. I was right there with these women in solidarity with their struggles, which often have mirrored some of my own, and I'm sure many of you can relate to that. This was a good read. I felt like my soul kind of needed the reminder that I'm not alone out there with these struggles. I also appreciated that the advice, that there's advice. I mean, almost everyone, I think there was only one I didn't see any advice from, but almost every story, every chapter included some advice that was kind of addressed, which I thought was just fantastic, really, really helpful. So I just wanted to kind of read some of the advice here that I thought was pretty great. Got some good quotes too, really good quotes. So one of my favorites in the advice section was, if someone doesn't want to hire you because you're a woman, you don't want to work for them. And man, that just like hit right home. Absolutely. I don't want to contribute my hard-earned energy and brain power to an organization that doesn't value me. Why would I even want to try to do that? Another one is, if you don't know something, don't be afraid to say you don't know. People will respect you for it. If you say you're going to come back to them with an answer, make sure you do. And then another one, and this is good for management. I have your back in public, even if you're wrong. I will have your back. I may pull you after to discuss it, but that will be between us. I thought that was pretty interesting. I've had that experience having a boss like that in the past, and it's really powerful. You know, no one wants to be called out in public. That doesn't create a generally good, happy environment with a lot of well-being. Another couple pieces of advice that I thought were great. There are, and this is from, let me just list off who that was. She was a good one. I want to make sure I got her name there. It was Lucy McGrother, and she's on page 95. Is where her story starts. But she actually said carpe diem, and I thought, well, I love that. Carpe diem, seize the day. A good manager can make or break a job. Try and fail, not fail to try. That is, don't be afraid to make a mistake. Don't be afraid to ask for help, as failure will teach you much more about yourself than any success will. Be kind to yourself. If something isn't right, change it. Believe in yourself. You are good enough. Now I'm going to take go ahead and have Kiana open up the first poll question, because I want to start talking about this. Oh, I see Sharon is here. Sharon, you want to introduce yourself while we put up the poll question? Nope, she may not be quite ready yet. I don't know.
Hey
Kiana?
everyone, how's it going?
Ah, hey there. How's it going?
Doing well. Sorry, I'm just sneaking in here. My name is Sharon Jackson. I work with Joanna with the San Diego affiliate. I've been the secretary for the last 3 years. And right now I work as a information security analyst with Wells Fargo. I work with their tech capability research and validation team.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I just opened the first poll question and people are responding right now. Hopefully you can get back to your desk from whatever you're doing. I know some of you are cooking in the kitchen or taking a walk or something, but maybe go ahead and take a second to answer the poll question about advice. We'd really love to hear your thoughts on any advice that you've received. And if you didn't read the book, just tell us the best advice you've ever gotten in general for for working in the cybersecurity industry. It's pretty good. I pulled up the chat. Let's see here. Okay, good. Yeah, so that's the question. Did you find any of the advice within the book surprising? About 25% of our respondents said yes. 33% said not really. It was what I expected. So, and then, we've got a few attendees who weren't able to read the book yet or just didn't really have an opinion on it. My answer was that, yeah, there was quite a bit of advice that I thought was surprising. There was one that I thought was really interesting from a woman who, and I think I was gonna mention it later, but she kind of speaks to how she handles working in the industry from a perspective of a woman of color as well, which I thought was pretty interesting. So I'm going to hit that up a little bit later. Sharon, did you have any thoughts on some of the advice that was offered?
I'm so sorry, Joanna. I didn't get a chance to look. I was dealing with headphone issues. I apologize.
Oh, no, that's all right. Yeah, that's fine. So I'm not seeing anything in chat from anyone yet. Nope, not seeing anything yet. So some advice that I found it's insightful was on page 53. I think I'm going to read that. And that was suggested by April Boyd Noronha. She says, be a catalyst for change in cybersecurity, whether at a local, regional, or global level. Stay ready to shift the narrative to encourage others and other women to actively pursue a career in STEM cybersecurity. 3, leverage your experience and expertise. Do not be afraid to say yes to unlikely opportunities because there's always a lesson to be learned. I've often found myself one of the things that has helped me to be so successful in my jobs has been that I'm generally not afraid to just take stuff on. So I end up with kind of an opposite problem when I see that advice, is that I end up taking on too much and then have to sort of juggle and scramble because I've overcommitted. I'm not very good at saying no, but I know some of us are just shy or hesitant to put ourselves out there and jump out and say yes to just anything. Or you could be sitting in a meeting and hearing someone talk about the struggles that they're having or the problems that they're dealing with, and then all of the sudden you have to kind of make a decision. Well, I could help with that, but maybe I don't want to raise my hand. I can see that, that definitely is a regular thing. And then going on to number 4, she says, know your role as a woman in STEM and cybersecurity. Primarily, it is either to advocate for those coming in behind and or with you in the industry, educate, not necessarily only in the classroom, but in your community as a mentor, a tutor, a peer, etc. And then the last one is influence. Never negate the fact that your very presence is always powerful. So I encourage you to show up at community events, lectures. Good job, you're all here. Be present and always aware of your impact. and speak up, be heard, whether it's in the classroom, boardroom, or an informal meeting. That was always really, really good stuff to me. I'm going to go back a little bit and talk about some of the things she mentions as a woman of color, that, you know, I know some of us are facing some more additional challenges due to those things. And she talks about how in her career, she has found, you know, success, kind of a method, she calls it a method to her madness. With any position, and I'm going to quote here, with any position that I pursue, regardless of industry, I first subscribe to my own carefully curated due diligence. As a professional female of color with an established expertise in many fields, I find it extremely instrumental to take it upon myself to initiate this two-step survival of the fittest protocol. Okay, and here's number one: scope out the landscape. Gain intel to determine the ratio of currently employed persons of color with whom you may come into contact on a daily and a regular basis. I will never forget the advice given to me by one of my first female mentors of color. She took me to the hallway of the company where we were both currently employed. While walking down the hallway, she asked me to look at the faces of the portraits proudly displayed on the wall that featured the prior and current leaders of the company. She reminded me that this display spoke volumes and will tell you everything you need to know about a company's real position on diversity and inclusion. To this day, it is one of the first steps I take while considering joining a new organization. At least today, access about a company's history is more readily available, can be found on the internet, right? You know, and sometimes it's in a separate tab listed as diversity or diversity and inclusion. The second thing she does after scoping out this kind of landscape is to curate a list of possible allies. Should you choose to move forward, the second step can be conducted either prior to accepting a new position or immediately after reporting to your new role. This concept takes the role of networking to a whole new level, but it's a necessary step for a female of color, especially in the realm of STEM. We're all familiar with the principle to always look for your next job while you actually have a job. I totally agree with this concept, especially in times such as these, we're experiencing crises simultaneously across the world: COVID-19, racial tension and unrest, widespread unemployment, etc. So it's really interesting that she's kind of, you know, really bringing this home, and I think it's fantastic. I myself am I feel incredibly privileged to be able to work on a very diverse team in a very diverse environment at my university. Not only do we have more people of color on the team than anything else, we also have 4 women, and we're a small team. There's only like 7 of us. Yeah. So there's more women than men on my team. And I'm just like, I don't know how this happened, but it's fantastic. I think it's great. And we are such a successful team. And I believe that has a lot to do with it. I'm going to take a minute to go in here and have a look at some of the comments in chat. Kimmy Groot says, I really want to read the book, even if some of the advice might seem obvious. Sometimes you need to hear it more often so you can truly embrace it, I believe. I started my first IT job as a junior DevSecOps engineer in September, and it has been challenging, but I have really great colleagues. Sharon jumped in. Sharon, you can open up your mic and speak. Absolutely.
Oh, okay. I just didn't want to interrupt it. I really like that section of the book that you were reading. It's got some really great tips and pointers, and I think it's for everybody, not just women in color, but for women in general. You know, the key points that they focus on there, we should all list them out and make sure that we're using them in our work environments and our networking. And I especially like the one about finding allies within your work, finding those champions who are going to step up to bat for you when you've got questions or when you're not quite sure of yourself. Who was it? Oh, Kimmy said, I still struggle with imposter syndrome. And I think that, I don't know, I think that we all completely struggle with imposter syndrome. So it's nice to find those allies who reassure you that you're doing a good job and that you're heading down the right path and stuff. So yeah, definitely keep it up.
I agree. And another thing is I really, this has helped me a lot to deal with my imposter syndrome. Is you'll have these moments where you'll be sitting in a meeting and you'll be talking to someone and you'll be explaining something to someone who doesn't know, or you'll have just kind of a little aha moment in the back of your brain, right? This has happened to me, and I encourage you all to feel this out for when this happens to you, right? This voice will pop into your head and go, I sound like I know what I'm talking about. Not just I sound like I know what I'm talking about. I do know what I'm talking about. And hang on to those moments when they happen, because you do, and it really helps a lot to combat that imposter syndrome that we're all struggling with. Oh yeah, Trisha agrees. Glad you could make it, Trisha. Glad to see you. Let's see here. Yeah, Kimmy went on to say, I still want to have some free time with family, but it feels respected now. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Valerie Perlowitz, she's from WiCyS, looks like WiCyS, Florida, I believe. Advocate not only for those coming up in STEM, but those around and above you, those ahead of you. Always like to hear what worked and what still needs to be done. Fabiola Roland Pinero said, my favorite pieces of advice were, what my male counterparts failed to grasp was that I was in the same room as them. I'd earned my space in that room. I was going to take up as much space as I needed in that room, and they were just going to have to get over it. What a great quote, right? I don't remember which one that was, but that was, was that in the book, or was that just advice you had received, Fabiola, yourself? That's great though. Either way, it was in the book. Okay, I didn't remember that. I'm sure I read it, but another one is, I learned that I was responsible for making sure I was not being taken advantage of in the workspace because I'm a woman or because I'm a minority. That's fantastic.
Boundaries are so important.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm just checking real quick on how many. We have 21 participants today. That's a nice, smaller, more intimate group. I'm going to encourage everyone at this point that we can go ahead. Sometimes we have hundreds of attendees, but with about 21, I feel like, if somebody wants to if you feel really moved, you can unmute your mic and join the conversation. But I am going to go ahead. I am going to go ahead and jump to the second question. So many of these stories featured the saga of the career changer. As a career changer myself, and Sharon, I know you are too, I'm still astounded by how many there are in this industry. And it's not just people coming over like from IT, right? The women featured in this book have the most diverse backgrounds, right? There was a passionate cricket player, a teacher, an electrical engineer. I mean, these stories remind us that the path into and desire for security, it's just not a straight line. It's really not. And I'm submitting my own answer to that question on the poll. Check on that. Sharon, you're a career changer. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I call myself a jack of all trades because I feel like I've kind of done a little bit here and there. I'm a military spouse, and so most of the time we move around every 2 to 3 years, and so that, I don't know, kind of gave me the opportunity to experience a lot of different things in life. I originally have a BFA in computer animation, and I worked post-production in the movie industry for a couple of years. After having kids, I had a small part-time photography business. I taught ESL online. Yeah, just kind of a hodgepodge of things.
Yeah. Oh, we got our poll results. Wow.
93%. Yes, I'm a career
93%.
changer.
Wow, that's crazy. I mean, I'm glad. I mean, maybe it's not crazy. It's wild, right? I really, that has been my experience consistently. I keep running into people who just, well, I came from this other thing. Myself, I know some of you already know this, but some of you may not. Myself, my background is accounting and project management, right? So how did I end up in IT? I mean, it's astounding, right? At some point I was working as an executive assistant to a CISO. And of course, when you're helping a CISO, right, a chief information security officer, you're starting to learn all kinds of things security related, and just, opportunities, morphed from there. And it's been fantastic. Catherine Burke jumped in and said, I'm wondering if anyone was a little uncomfortable with the occasional message about how it's important to remember we represent women. As a math and computer science teacher, I worked hard to help female students escape stereotype threat because that pressure can be damaging. What do others think? Actually, I really like this question, Catherine. Thank you for asking that. That I would love to know what some of you think about this. Because it is, I mean, it's almost like as women, we're telling our stories, but even our own stories are influenced by our own biases. I think that that they can put pressure on people to say, well, I'm a woman, so I have to be better. I have to be the best. I have to represent all women, right? And I'm sure people of color face the same exact problems, right? Well, I feel like I'm representing everyone. And that's ridiculous pressure. It's not appropriate. It's certainly not appropriate to, I don't think it's appropriate to advance that narrative consciously at all. But I think, I like to give people a little bit of grace and allow, that some people's experience, it just may not have occurred to them, even that they're putting that kind of pressure on themselves. And so you can call it out in the gentlest way, but I most likely am just going to be on the side of trying to support whatever women are trying to accomplish. And now I'm just going to open up the microphone to anyone who wants to weigh in on that. I really want to hear what y'all think.
I don't think I've ever really thought about it much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, I've kind of been involved with fields where men are, predominantly there, and have always taken a head first approach, and I'm just gonna be the best I can be. But yeah, I can see where it would put, undue pressure on people.
Anyone else have any thoughts on this?
Catherine, did you have any like personal experiences that you wanted to expand upon?
Sure. So, what I mentioned about stereotype threat is just sort of the fact that sometimes when people anticipate that others will be biased against them, that actually might damage how much they participate and speak, or just in other ways affect their performance. And I think, as I said, as a teacher, I've seen that sometimes with students, where if there's a girl who's the only girl in a group of guys, they might act and speak differently than they do when they're in a group that has another girl. And I think that sort of that just illustrates something that's a little bit concerning. And I'm wondering, I know as you said, as people are rising and succeeding, it can be very important to think about that, how we are setting up examples for people, both, above, below, sides, all that, but also showing men like, hey, we can do it too. But I'm wondering if along the stages of progress, just what that does to individual professionals.
Yeah, definitely. Is there anyone else who wants to jump in? Okay, Michaela, go for it.
Hi. Thank you so much for asking that question, Catherine. It is something that I thought about as I was reading the book. And I think that in my experience as a woman and as a woman of color, I've often been told from family members and friends who are well-meaning, especially as a Black woman in predominantly white spaces, that I have to be very aware of how I'm presenting myself to other people. And I think that's something that a lot of minorities are aware of as they navigate life, that when people look at you, they will see your race, and oftentimes your actions will be perceived as a part of your race, as a part of your racial identity. And I definitely agree that it can be very tiring at times to know that as you interact with people, you have to manage yourself differently than if you were to interact with just a group of people who look like you or just a people who have the same gender as you. But I think that that's just an unfortunate part of life at this point. And oftentimes you can use that to your better, to your advantage. It doesn't always have to be something that is limiting you. Sometimes I'm the only woman on my team. So sometimes when everyone turns to look at me, I understand that I am the outlier in the group, but I definitely try to advocate for other women, for other women candidates that we're interviewing, because we have an open role in our company now. And I feel like my voice is heard. And because of the ways that I've been able to contribute to my team, I feel like they're more willing also to hire more women. So I feel like it's a bit of give and take. Sometimes it can be daunting and challenging being a woman or a woman of color and constantly being told that you are representing an entire group. But sometimes that representation can offer more opportunities for other people. So
yeah, definitely. Thank you, Michaela. Santina, also welcome back. You have some comments you'd like to make?
Yes. Hi everyone. I hope everyone's well on this Saturday. Yeah, I agree with the young lady that just spoke earlier. However, there are some interracial challenges that we face as well. And I say that in the sense of, you could be the only Black person on the team, but then you have one whoever you may have one other person that shares your commonality, but then you want to compete. And that could be women, and that could be other Blacks, or other African Americans. I've seen that in our own culture, that sometimes the quickest people to stab you in the back may be the person that needed to be representing you and encouraging you. That's why I like WiCyS group, because we tend to stick together, and there's people who would announce job announcements. We encourage each other, regardless of what is going on in our workspace. But inside that work office is where it's difficult, when you have people of your own culture or your own sexual group that don't actually support you. They feel that they have to lean more on the side of the majority to get acceptance from them, so they tend to do you wrong. So that's something that I experience as well. I try to find those, and it may not be people of my own culture. You may find people who have an understanding of what you're experiencing. They understand what's going on culturally. They understand the social dynamics, and they want to learn more, and they want to hear what you're experiencing. So it may not just be getting alongside with other women and other races, or races that look like you. Sometimes you got to let people know how you truly feel, and that's how you find your allies.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right. And you know what, that leads right into our next question, which is great. So some of the most inspirational parts of the book were ones, for, at least to me, where everything changed because another woman was giving our storyteller support. An example would be Cheryl Serrano's story, page 55. It's very interesting. Here she is, she's going to school as quickly as she can because she has to provide for her family. She has 2 small kids. And in one of her classes, she runs into this wall of, where as part of her module, there's a programming task. And she has 0 programming experience. And she's afraid she's going to flunk the class. And so she asked for help from a female industry leader. And I'm just going to read this story, like completely kind of one of the things that I had mentioned earlier, sort of was a little bit rage inducing, right? So she went to this female industry leader to ask her advice. And this is a quote. Her advice to me was that I shouldn't be in university if I couldn't code. I was distraught. It felt like my fear of not being good enough slapped me in the face right there and then. I very nearly quit the course. Thankfully, I didn't quit. I sought advice from a different lecturer, Natalie, who was very supportive. Natalie provided me with the instructions, the tools, and the motivation I needed to teach myself how to code. It was far from easy, and even now I'm not the best programmer, but I completed the task and the module. And I thought that's, that's it. Like, even when sometimes as women we could fail each other, but if you need help and you ask and you're hitting a wall, ask again, ask someone else, keep going. Because in my experience, especially working with the Women in Cybersecurity organization, global and local affiliates, I get so much support. And I know Sharon, I know you can speak to this too.
Sorry, I was typing a comment in the chat.
Sure.
Yeah, so I had absolutely zero experience within cybersecurity or even IT, and I was just beginning my journey. And I'd come across the WiCyS group just around the time that COVID happened. And so I can say, like, without a doubt, without the mentorship and support that I received from these ladies here in San Diego, I would have never had gotten into cybersecurity. I would have never gone as far as I had, because you get those moments of self-doubt and imposter syndrome. And it was great to have those sounding boards and those women in my life to tell me, you can do this, you got this, you're really smart, you have the ambition, you have the energy for it, keep going, you're gonna get there, don't worry about it. So I couldn't have done it without them.
Absolutely. I just want to go back to the chat real quick. Michaela Nyambura, she just wanted to add on to her previous. Lately, I've been trying to look for the positive. Otherwise, life can be really daunting, especially as I am so early on in my career and my academic background isn't really in cyber. And I think, as we said earlier, right, 93% of us, same, right? Catherine says, Santina, thanks for bringing up the importance of finding your allies, because not everyone will be supportive. I hope that you and everyone in this group find strong champions of the value and potential. I agree. And, if you're still seeking that mentorship, or you need more of that support, being a global member can help you, because there's a mentor-menteeship program. It does, open and close very short window, but if you stay on top of it on the website, when it opens up, then you can apply and you can become a part of the program and get that mentorship that you need. And now I'm going to go over the results of the third poll. Thank you, Tricia. If you're currently working in the industry, have you previously found, or do you now find, female mentorship essential to your success? Only 13% said couldn't have done it without the women who helped me along the way. And 38% said I've received a little help here and there. 25% said I haven't received the help I would have hoped for. And another quarter said, what women? I'm the only one in my cybersecurity experience journey. And that just breaks my heart. Like, a quarter of us, right? Just not getting the help we want or need, or maybe we're the only one. And that's one of the reasons that I do this, right? Like, let's connect with each other. I encourage all of you to look me up on LinkedIn. I'm happy to help network. And if you have resources, right, lean on each other. You can also use the WiCyS website to connect with each other. It's fantastic. Let's see here. Sharon says you should have a mentor for every aspect of your life. That's something I don't think about often. It's probably a good point. I'm like, I think that might have helped me a lot younger when I was a lot younger. As being a mother, I really always was looking for someone to help me with that kind of, with those sorts of challenges, not just in my career. So that's a really good point. Valerie says good mentors come from all walks of life, not just cybersecurity. Yeah.
Hey, excuse me, Joanna. When I put my the information in the chat about the poll, I skipped over Kimmy. I think Kimmy wanted to speak.
Yeah, she said she wants to speak a little. No, that's fine. Kimmy, go ahead. Open up your mic and say what you got to say. We're listening.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, okay. Because sometimes I have a little bit problems with headphones. First of all, I would love to thank you. It's so inspirational. And as I wrote, I'm just on the beginning of my career change. Now in September, I started with it in one solar energy company in Germany. And it's crazy difficult, but I'm like, fighting. And I'm so happy because, yeah, as you also was talking about this imposter syndrome, that you are like thinking, yeah, I know what I'm talking about in this room. Yeah, so that's when I was always thinking, okay, I already did some things in my life. I come from Czech Republic. I came alone with my daughter when she was 1 year old, uh, and I came to Germany without one German word. So it was like so crazy. So and I uh, yeah, so I started to work. I was working in gastronomy my whole life. I'm 34. I have two small children, and I just then said, okay, I'm done with customer because it's so hard work, and you are not paid well, even if you work really hard. And I was always like working like all other men in my group and everything, and I was just frustrated and like that and everything. And then I had the luck that my boyfriend, he also is working in IT for like many years, and he was like encouraging me that I maybe could think about the career change. And I was like, are you crazy? I don't understand computers. I just touch a computer and it's broken. So and it was then hard. I did like such a German program. Also in German, it was difficult for me because it's technical, not my native language. Yes. So, but I was like, I can do it. I learned German. I can do it.
What
So
is your current
that's
job? What do you do now?
I'm working in DevSecOps department from a solar energy company, so which
That's
has like a quarter part of all these companies in Germany. So it's like pretty big, and I was working on it really, really hard to get there because I get like such tests that I had to pass to like build such crazy cluster with Ansible and everything, and I didn't do it before, and was like, oh, I said that to that boss, and I was like, I can try, but I don't know, and he said, just try it. It's okay. That has not to be perfect. And was like working on it 3 weeks on that passing test, and then he said, yeah, I like it. It's not perfect, but I like how you think. Welcome on board. And it was like, ah,
yeah,
crazy.
that's when things get really, really, when I talk about kind of getting into flow of what you're doing and you're working, is when you start getting that feedback. Yeah, you're doing a great job. This is good work. Keep at it. I like the way you think. I mean, that really helps us. I'm going to jump over to Elizabeth. We have some more comments. So thank you, Kimmy.
Yes.
Elizabeth.
Yeah, welcome.
Elizabeth Amankwas, she says, I'm also the only woman in my team, and even as the team lead, I constantly have to prove myself because I didn't have an IT background while all my male team members did. So I had to work twice as hard to earn their respect, and a part of me thought they felt threatened by me. Sometimes that can be daunting, but you still have to strive to put your best foot forward, and I can see other people just loving that comment. Catherine also is asking Sharon if you'd maybe mind saying a little bit more about having a mentor in every aspect of your life. And I think that, yeah, go for it.
Sure. When I mean about every aspect of your life, and I think sometimes subconsciously I did this, but like, Kimmy, you said that you have two small children, so you can find a mentor who also has small children that you can talk to when you have problems. There are religious mentors that you can have, financial mentors you can have educational mentors. Like whatever you're doing in your life, you can always find a mentor for that. And I feel like it's so important because there's somebody out there who's already gone through it, who's been through it, who has that like, you know, little words of wisdom to be like, oh yeah, that makes total sense. And I'm so glad I asked that question. And even now, like some of my closest girlfriends, I consider them mentors because we all have had different experiences in life. And so, you know, we just come together and we're like, yeah, you know, I'm struggling with this in my life. And they're like, oh yeah, yeah, I've been there, you know. You know, they can encourage you and you know, validate your feelings and things like that. So, you know, that's what I mean, like every aspect of your life. You just, whatever you're doing, just reach out to somebody who's been there, done that. Or maybe you want somebody to go with, you know, go through the journey with you type deal.
Absolutely. Yeah. One of the best pieces of advice I ever received also, and this is something that's kind of adjacent to what you're saying, but it definitely applies, I think, which is that if you are interested in something, go to where the best are. Go find the best, who's the best at doing that thing, and ask them for help. Ask them, you know, their opinions, you know, follow them. Get an idea maybe of just absorb anything they're willing to teach you and tell you, because they're the best and that's going to make you better. And I thought that was, you know, some really good advice. Kimmy added, I do not know any women in IT somewhere near with children, but I would really love it. Even in German, in her IT school, she was the only woman. Wow, that's crazy. I'm going to go ahead. We don't have a ton of time left, so I'm going to jump to the next section. So another thing that struck me in the course of reading the book is how many women got their start almost accidentally. The cybersecurity field seemed to have sprung up out of a need for companies to just have someone doing the security related tasks, pulling existing staff and saying, oh, okay, go over here and just figure this out. All right, you're in charge of this now. So we need to be secure, we need to be compliant, go make it happen. And then, you know, when those tasks get mastered and those people, those women succeeded, you know, sometimes a whole new role gets created or a whole new world gets opened up for them. And so we're going to go ahead and open the fourth poll question. Was your path into information security by way of the offer of a job or security related task, something that wasn't part of your original job description? And tell us more about that in chat, or, you know, put your hand up to speak. You know, for me, that was yes, definitely. I was not expecting to end up doing security related items. Sharon's jumping in. She says, that's so tough. I feel it really shows more of an insecurity on the part of men. I've always felt like I had to prove that I am just as good as any man, but it stems from my childhood. 3 younger brothers. But it's that mentality just doesn't go away. I think that positive that's come from it is that I have a hold my peer mentality, and it's served me well. Yeah, I can see that about you, Sharon. Just here, hold my peer. I got this. I'm gonna hack this thing. I'll figure it out. You know, yeah, it's definitely valid. Kiana, we have some results here. You can go ahead and post those. I'd love to hear what y'all have done. We're going to open up the mic for just a couple of minutes. If anyone has anything they'd like to add onto this, you know, doing some tasks, some security related tasks, or maybe stumbling into security by accident. Yeah, we have 31% said yes, definitely. I recommend those people jump in. Looks like we've got here Elizabeth. Go ahead, open your mic, Elizabeth.
Okay, so for my side, I would say I started off as business development. My background is actually in economics, so I started in business development and I landed in an IT company, and my job was to sell some of our services. And I had no idea about IT or cybersecurity. And imagine you're going to sell something you have no idea about. So I had to take it upon myself to actually learn about it. And in my quest of learning about it, I felt like, wow, this is a very interesting field. And I was really, really curious about things. And that's how come I landed into the field. And I feel it's a curiosity part of me. That's how come I landed in the field. So that's it for me.
Sorry, I just realized I'm muted. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, that's absolutely great. Is there anyone else who wanted to jump in? We're nearing up the end of our time, so I'm just gonna let you all know, Kiana, we're gonna skip question 5 probably, and let people really kind of have a few minutes to talk, and then we'll jump into our closing. Is there anything else that anyone wanted to say about the book or about you know, some of the challenges in working in the industry that you want to speak to?
Hi, this is Cheryl Weaver. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm sorry. Can you say your name again?
Yes, it's Cheryl Weaver. So this is the first
Cheryl.
time that I have attended the book club, and it's excellent discussion. Thank you.
Sure.
You know, one of the things that I wanted to mention was I had a mentor that mentioned to me one time as a female to female that she found that her body language was so very important, and that oftentimes when she felt so self-conscious, that she tended to do what I think many people do, female or male, they slouch and tend to talk quietly. And what I really took that to heart, and because I did find myself when I began my career doing many of those same things. And so that really is a good check for me when I enter a new environment. I don't know if anyone else finds that to be something that they're very conscious of, but I wanted to add that to the discussion today. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for adding that. I really appreciate that. Yeah, has anyone else found that their body language has played a big part, or that maybe their self-consciousness changes how they present themselves or are concerned with how they're presenting themselves?
So I love that, and I just want to touch on the virtual aspect of that. Like, even when you're on camera, your body language still matters because it projects through your voice. So even if you're just doing a phone call over Zoom, you know, you don't have your camera on or anything like that, it still matters. And thank you so much for bringing that up. It's really important.
Yeah, one of the things that
Yes, ma'am.
one of the things that I heard someone say once was, you know, people can hear you smile on the phone. They don't have to
most definitely
know that you're smiling. And so it's kind of those kind of small things, they can matter. They can be they can make a big difference for sure. Anyone else? All right. Well, I've got you're welcome to keep posting in chat. We got a few minutes left. I'm going to go ahead and get to my closing. Some thoughts before we wrap up. As always, my hope is that today's discussion can be a catalyst to understanding and promoting the changes that we wish to see, specifically in our industry. Talk about the book or the ideas in it with your coworkers, your family, your spouses, and your congresspeople. You know, Sharon, is there anything else you'd like to add as co-host today?
No, I think that the stories in the book were really great, and they touched on a lot of really great topics and subjects. So if you haven't read the book, just take some time to sit down, and you don't even have to read it in order. You can just open it up and pick a story to read.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it was really good. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, and so there is Lisa Ventura, the person who compiled all the stories. She compiled a volume 2 as well. So if you did enjoy volume 1, feel free to pick up volume 2. What we are going to do about the next book club. So I just want to speak for a couple of minutes about that. The next book club normally would be we try to do it every other month, but normally that would be in December. But WiCyS Global has a lot happening right now. So what we're looking at is having it at the beginning of the year of 2024. So y'all get you know, a bit of time off, right? Everyone enjoy your holidays and time with your family. No need to worry. If you'd like some book recommendations, please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to recommend some more books, some other books. And we're still in discussions about which book we're going to pick and whether or not the next book club will be in January or February. So I want you to keep an eye out for the confirmation on that date. Once we do confirm it, it'll be in your WiCyS newsletters follow the events page on the website. Generally, WiCyS will make an effort to post in social media. So if you follow them anywhere on social media, you should be able to see that. And I want to thank everyone for attending and taking part in this discussion. Everybody have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you.